In a quiet corner of the galaxy, on a small and forgotten planet named Valari, a young girl named Kelara lived with her family. Her people were peaceful, kind, and soft-spoken. They had no weapons, no warships, and no soldiers. For thousands of years, they stayed away from the violent races of the galaxy. But peace comes with a price. The Valari people had no money. Their lands were dry, food was running out, and worse, the warlords of the galaxy had discovered their planet. One evening, Kelara's parents called her inside their old stone house. The sun was red, the air dry. She walked in, smiling, still innocent, still hopeful. Her mother looked away. Her father's face was tight with pain. Kelara noticed a visitor, an alien with sharp yellow eyes and metal armor. A slave trader. Her smile faded. "No," she whispered. Her mother began to cry. "We had no choice," her father said quietly. They offered food for the whole village, a full year of supplies. Kelara took a step back. "You sold me?" Her mother shook her head. "We saved everyone, Kelara, just one life." To save hundreds, Kelara didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just stood still, her eyes hard and cold. The next day, she was taken away in a silver cage. Far away, on a giant space station called Veltrax Hub, hundreds of strange beings gathered. The slave market was full. Tall, short, hairy, smooth-skinned. Lizard-like, every kind of species came to buy, trade, and own. Kelara stood quietly, chained by her wrists and ankles. Her silver-blue skin glowed softly under the lights. Her white hair fell over her face. She didn't look at anyone. Some buyers laughed and pointed. Some made cruel jokes. Some asked for her price. She said nothing, until he arrived. He was human. One of the few left in that part of the galaxy. Commander Jax Vaylor, tall, strong, and dressed in black uniform. A soldier of the Terran fleet, known for their discipline and their silence. Jax had no interest in slaves. He was only passing through. He didn't stop for anyone, until his eyes met hers. Kelara. She looked up, slowly. Their eyes locked. For one strange moment, everything went quiet. The market sounds, the shouts, the machines all faded. He saw something. In her eyes, not fear, not weakness, but strength. A quiet kind of strength, and she saw something in him too, not cruelty, not coldness, but a spark of a question. "Help me," she whispered. Only he heard it. Jax froze. Just for a second. Then he turned away. Later, in a small bar at the edge of the station, Jax sat alone. A glass of dark liquid in his hand. But he wasn't drinking. He was thinking. Why couldn't he stop seeing her face? She was just another slave. Sold like thousands of others. The galaxy was cruel. It always had been. But something felt wrong. He checked the data logs on his wrist device. Slave IDs, trade permits, family releases. Kelara's record was strange. No clear origin. No full transaction ID. No permission record. And worst of all, her age wasn't listed. That was illegal. Jax leaned back, eyes narrowing. Someone's hiding something, he whispered. He looked out the window. Stars moved slowly in the dark sky. Ships came and went. He stood up, tossed some credits on the table, and walked out. Back at the slave station, Kelara sat inside a cold cell. The other slaves kept their distance. Some were scared of her. Some were jealous, but she didn't care. Her mind was empty. Her heart heavy. She didn't expect to live long. But suddenly, the metal door of her cell opened. She looked up. Not the slave trader. Not a buyer. It was him. Commander Jax stood in the doorway, face calm, voice low. "I'm not here to save you," he said. She didn't reply. He stepped closer. "But I need to know, why were you sold without records?" Kelara's lips parted slowly. "Because my people are dying. And I was the price." Jax didn't speak. He looked around the cell, the guards, The security cams. Too risky. He turned. To leave. Wait, Kelara said suddenly. You saw me. That means something. He paused, then walked away. But this time, he didn't forget her. That night, Kelara stared at the stars through the tiny window in her cell. And in another part of the station, Jax opened a private comlink. I need access to the slave transfer ship, he said. Now, Commander, the voice replied. That's against protocol. I don't care. He ended the call, because somewhere deep inside, Jax knew. This wasn't just about one girl, it was about something bigger, and this was only the beginning. Space is cold, but secrets burn. Commander Jax Vaylor had seen many things in his life: alien wars, broken planets, lost colonies, but he had never seen eyes like hers. Kelara, even now, flying far from the slave market, her face stayed in his mind. He had walked away, just like all the others, but something inside him had turned, a voice, a pull. And for the first time in many years, he looked back. The next morning, Jax entered the dark hall of Central Archives, a secret database only accessed by military officers. He placed his hand on the scanner. Commander Jax Vaylor, access level, black iron. The screen blinked, then opened. He searched. Kelara, female, Valari. The result came back. No confirmed ID, no planet code, no legal transfer papers. Only one word appeared: unverified property, sold by direct family. He frowned. That was impossible. In galactic law, no one under 20 cycles could be sold. No one could be sold without planetary permission. But Kelara's sale had no approval, no record, just shadows. Someone was hiding the truth. Jax leaned back in the chair. He remembered her words. You saw me. That means something. Why had she said that? He remembered her chains. Too tight. Her back marked with bruises. Her silence too deep. This wasn't just a trade. This was a crime, and maybe she was not just any slave. Meanwhile, on the slave ship Vortex 9, Kelara sat in the dark hold with dozens of others. The air smelled of metal and oil. The ship was flying toward a mining colony known as Orga 5, a place where slaves never returned. Kelara looked down at her hands. She could feel something changing inside her. Pain, but not just from the chains, a slow heat. Strange energy inside her blood. She didn't know it yet, but something in her DNA was waking up. Back on the station, Jax made a decision. He walked into his ship's control room and gave a quiet command. Track slave ship Vortex 9. Destination, Orga 5. The ship AI answered. Tracking engaged. Warning, unauthorized mission. He ignored it. His second in command, Lieutenant Mira, looked at him. You're risking your career for a slave? She's not just a slave, Jax replied. Then what is she? He didn't answer, because he didn't know. Hours later, Jax landed quietly on Orga 5, posing as a buyer from a fake mining company. The air was thick with dust. Robots moved. Crates. Guards watched with scanners. He saw cages, cold, metal cages filled with the weak and the broken. And then he saw her. Kilara. Her head was low, her wrists bleeding, but her eyes still strong. Jax felt something strange in his chest. Was it guilt? Or something else? He walked to the gate. A slaver stopped him. You buying or just watching? I'm here for her, Jax said, pointing to Kelara. The slaver laughed. That one? Not for sale anymore. She's been claimed by Lord Varn. Varn? Jax repeated. The slaver grinned. Yeah, she's gonna be sent to the Red Arena for blood sport. Jax went quiet. The Red Arena was a deathmatch ring, where slaves fought until one was left breathing. No one survived. Back in the cage, Kelara opened her eyes. She felt it again, that energy in her blood, burning, changing. And when her fingers touched the bars, The metal sizzled. No one saw it, but she did. Something inside her was no longer silent. That night, Jock stood on a rooftop, looking at the arena gates. His plan was simple: break in, get her out, or die trying. He opened a small black case. Inside, an old Terran blade, not powered, not traced, just cold, sharp steel. He strapped it to his arm. This wasn't war. This was personal. Inside her cell, Kalara suddenly sat up. A whisper ran through her head. He's coming. She didn't know how she knew, but she felt it. She felt in. As the night deepened and clouds covered the moons, a figure moved through the shadows, fast, silent, deadly. Commander Jax. He had no backup. No orders. No exit plan. Only one mission: save her. And maybe, just maybe, find out why she mattered so much. Pain has a sound. It echoed through the steel halls of the prison. Ship Kraken 47, flying above the gas giant Orga. The prisoners inside didn't scream anymore. They had learned silence, but one voice, one memory, kept repeating in Kalara's mind: I'm not here to save you. And yet, he came back. Commander Jax Vaylor had broken into a slaver stronghold, stolen a fighter ship, and risked open fire for her. But now, both of them were in chains. 3 hours earlier. The rescue didn't go as planned. Jax had reached her cell. He had cut her chains. He had whispered, "Let's go." But before they could escape, alarms blared. Guards came like insects. 10, 15, too many. Kalara tried to fight, but she collapsed. Her body shook, her skin glowing faintly blue. Something inside her wanted to break free, but didn single quotes T.J.A.X fought until blood ran from his mouth. Then darkness. Now, both sat in opposite cages on the prison ship, floating high above a gas storm, with no land below and no future ahead. Kalara looked across the hallway. She could see Jax through the bars, bruised, weak, bleeding, but still breathing, still watching. "You shouldn't have come," she said quietly. Jax gave a dry smile. "Yeah, I get that a lot." She leaned her head back against the cold wall. "You don't even know who I am." "I know enough," he replied. "You didn't belong in a cage." Suddenly, a robotic voice filled the room. "Next transport stop, Blood Arena 12. Fighters, prepare for chain release." The ship tilted slightly. The floor vibrated. Doors opened. And 2 guards walked in, large, insect-like, armed with stun rods. One tapped Jax's cage. "You fight." "She fights." Kalara stood up slowly, her body still weak, but her eyes burning. "We don't kill," she said. "Then you die." The guard replied with a hiss. The arena was not on land. It floated high in the sky, surrounded by clouds and thunder. A platform made of force fields and steel, hanging over the endless storms of Orga's skies. If you fell, you didn't land. You disappeared into the wind. Kalara and Jax were pushed into the center of the arena. Around them, cheers, lights, alien voices. Rich warlords watching from above in hover chairs. "Fight or fall." The voice echoed. 3 more prisoners entered the ring, armed, angry, desperate. And then it began. One prisoner charged at Kalara with a metal rod. She closed her eyes and moved. Faster than before, she dodged, rolled, grabbed the rod, and in a flash, it melted in her hand. The crowd gasped. Even Jock stared. "What are you?" One fighter growled. Kalara didn't answer. Another came at her. She raised her palm just like a reflex, and a blast of blue light threw him back 20 feet. Jax was fighting 2 at once. Bruised, but skilled. He used their momentum, dodged a blade, grabbed it midair, and used the handle to strike. He looked over at Kalara for a moment. She was glowing. Her skin, her hands, even her eyes, like starlight trapped in a body. But the fight wasn't over. The last attacker ran toward Jax with a plasma blade. Too close. Too fast. Kalara screamed, and in that scream something unlocked. A wave of power exploded from her body. The arena shook. The ground cracked. The plasma blade shattered in midair. The attacker flew off the edge. Into the sky. Gone. Silence fell. Even the crowd stopped cheering. Kelara collapsed to her knees. Shaking. Jax ran to her. He caught her before she hit the ground. "Hey. Breathe. You're okay," he whispered. She looked up at him. "I don't know what's happening to me," she said. "I think you're becoming what you really are," he replied. Above them, one of the warlords leaned forward. "Bring them back, separate cells. Tomorrow new match. Or sell the girl. She's not just a fighter, she's a weapon." And deep inside the control tower, someone made a call to a higher power. "We found something, not just a slave, a genetic event." Back in her cage, Kelara sat alone, her hands still glowing faintly, and for the first time, she was afraid of herself. And she wasn't the only one. Some battles are not about winning. They're about who you become when you're forced to fight. The arena was silent now. The blood had dried. The crowd had left. And Kelara sat in her dark cage, staring at her glowing hands. Her breath was slow. Her heart was loud. She had thrown a man into the sky without touching him. She had felt his fear, and enjoyed it. That scared her more than anything else. Across the hallway, Jock sat with his back against the wall of his own cage. He couldn't sleep. Not after what he saw. He had fought alongside elite human soldiers, but never beside a girl who bent reality with her scream. He didn't know what Kelara was, but he knew what she wasn't. She wasn't weak, and she wasn't a slave anymore. Suddenly, heavy doors opened, lights blazed on, a voice boomed. "Match 2, begin preparation. Team fight." 2 guards grabbed Jax, 2 others grabbed Kelara. No words, no warnings, only cuffs. And silence. They were thrown into a preparation chamber together. This time, no weapons. No armor, no plan. Just each other. Kelara looked at Jax. Her voice quiet. "I can't control it." Jax looked at her carefully. "Then don't fight the power. Fight for the right reason." She shook her head. "What if I become a monster?" Jax took 1 step closer. "Then I'll fight beside the monster, if she's fighting for the right thing." Kelara's eyes softened. Just a little, for the first time. She smiled. The floor beneath them shook. They were dropped literally into the arena below. This one was different. It wasn't floating in the sky. It was underground. Metal walls. No crowd. Just cameras that broadcast to buyers across the galaxy. 4 opponents waited, armed with cyber axes, shock blades, and shields. Kelara stood ready, heart pounding. Jax cracked his neck. "We don't survive this by being strong," he whispered. "We survive this by trusting each other." She nodded. Then everything exploded into motion. Jax ran left fast and precise. He ducked under a spinning blade and countered with a flying knee. Kelara raised her hands, blue light forming around her fingers like electricity. She threw a blast forward. It hit one attacker square in the chest, sending him flying. But the force knocked her backward too. She hit the ground hard, groaned. She wasn't used to this power. It was wild, hungry. Jax covered her, blocking a heavy strike with a stolen shield. "Focus," he shouted. "Breathe with it." "Not against it." Kelara closed her eyes, inhaled. And for a second, everything slowed. She saw the fight like a map. Movements, angles, timing. Then she moved, with speed, grace, precision. She slid between 2 attackers and sent a shockwave through the ground with a single stomp. It shattered metal. It threw men. Even Jax had to take a step back. She opened her eyes again. This time, they were glowing completely, not just blue, white hot, burning like stars. The last enemy charged at Jax with a double blade, too fast to dodge, but Kelara stepped In front of him, she didn't block. She didn't flinch. She absorbed the hit. The blade touched her skin and melted. The attacker looked at his empty hilt and dropped it. Then he ran. Silence. The chamber lights dimmed. A voice crackled through the walls. Match complete. New data logged. Subject 421 confirmed unstable. Requesting relocation. Guards came back in. Faster this time. More afraid, Kelara turned to Jax. I'm not sure what I am anymore, she said softly. Jax looked her in the eye. You're the strongest thing in this galaxy, he replied. But it's not your power that scares them, it's your heart. They were dragged back to their cells, but this time, Kelara wasn't shaking, and Jax wasn't bleeding. They were changing. Together. Far above them, in a secret tower on Orga's moon, a shadowy figure watched the footage. Activate genetic scan, he said. A second figure asked, what are we looking for? The first one replied, not a slave, not a weapon. Something ancient, something human-made. Escape was never the plan. It was the only option left. The prison ship had no name anymore. It was just called the Pit, buried under the crust of Orga 5, hidden beneath rock, lava flows, and lies. The Pit was where no one escaped. No one even tried. Until tonight. Kelara sat in her cage, her eyes no longer afraid. Her powers, once wild and broken, were starting to listen to her. She could feel them like fire beneath her skin. Controlled. Waiting. Across the hall, Jax was watching the guards, counting steps, studying movements. Every military instinct told him this wasn't survival anymore. This was war, Kelara whispered. Across the darkness, are you sure we can make it out? Jax didn't smile. Not this time. I don't know. But we don't belong in cages. That's all I need to know. That night, the lights flickered. The temperature dropped. Power was shifting. And in the control room, something unexpected happened. Systems crashed. Doors unlocked. Guards lost connection. And in the chaos, Kelara's cage opened first. Not by command. By force. She had touched the lock, and it had melted. Not fire. Not heat. But something deeper. Energy talking to metal. She moved fast. Quiet. Like wind through wires. She reached Jax's cage and pressed her palm against the door. This might tingle. I hate tingling, Jax muttered. Then, boom. The door flew open. Alarms screamed. Red lights bathed the halls. Footsteps came from every direction. They ran, not down. Up. Jax knew the route, memorized it over weeks. He took left turns without hesitation. Kelara followed, using her powers to block doors, overload circuits, and crash defense drones. They reached a narrow tunnel. Jax looked up. A ladder, endless, leading to a hangar, and inside that hangar was freedom, a stolen ship, old, scarred, but fast. They climbed. Floor by floor. Explosion after explosion rocked the prison. Guards chased. Drones fired. Kelara turned at one point, eyes glowing, sent a shockwave back down the tunnel. The ceiling collapsed, burying their path behind them. No going back now, she said, breathing hard. Wasn't planning to, Jax replied. They reached the hangar bay. It was chaos, fires, gunfire, screams. Other prisoners had broken free. Fights were everywhere. Kelara only saw one thing, the ship. It was ugly, rusty, smoking, but she smiled. She's beautiful, she's broken, Jax replied, just like us. They jumped aboard. Jax powered up the engine. Kelara stood at the entrance, her arms glowing as she blocked the fire from guards trying to reach the ship. Then boom. The engine roared, the ship lifted, and they shot into the sky. The force pushed them into their seats. Below them, the prison burst into flames. A full fuel line detonated. The sky lit up. And the Pit Orga's secret hell was gone. Silence in the cockpit. Jax breathed hard, sweat running down his face. Kelara stared at the stars. We did it. Not yet, Jax said. We've got one problem left. She looked at him. He pointed ahead, and there it was, a bounty hunter cruiser. Big. Armed, waiting in orbit. Jax didn't slow down. Kaylara stood up. What do I do? Whatever your instincts tell you. She walked to the window, held out her hand. The bounty ship aimed its cannons. She whispered something. No one could hear it. And then, the cruiser's lights died. All weapons offline. No sound. No movement. Just silence. Kaylara lowered her hand. Jax blinked. Remind me not to ever make you mad. They flew into deep space, leaving the planet behind. Below them, fire. Behind them, bounty. Inside them, freedom. Later, in the small living area of the ship, Jax gave Kaylara an old coat. Human design, worn, black leather. You're one of us now, he said. She put it on. It didn't quite fit, but she smiled anyway. Do I get a name? You already have one. Kaylara? No, Jax said. He looked at her serious. Calm. They called you a weapon, a slave, a thing to own. But I see something else. He stood. I see hope. Elsewhere. In a dark chamber of a powerful empire, a figure watched her escape. He replayed the footage of her power frame. By frame. Find her, he said to the shadows behind him. Whatever she is, she belongs to us. Space is quiet. Too quiet when you're running from everything. Kaylara sat alone near the back of the stolen ship. Lights were dim. The hum of the engine echoed like a slow heartbeat. She had wrapped herself in the black coat Jax gave her. It still smelled like fuel and iron, but it was warm. Outside the window, stars passed like whispers. She had escaped the chains, escaped the arena, escaped death, but not her questions. Jax stood in the cockpit, steering them through a silent part of the galaxy called the Hollow Belt, a dead zone with no signals, no light, and no life. It was the best place to hide. It was also the best place to remember what you're trying to forget. He walked back to Kaylara, carrying 2 cups of synth tea. One for her, one for himself. She took it quietly. They didn't speak for a long time. Finally, Jax broke the silence. How are you feeling? Kaylara didn't answer at first. Then, like I'm not real. He nodded slowly. I know that feeling. She looked at him. Do you? He sat across from her. When I left Earth for the last time, I watched it burn. I felt like I didn't belong anywhere anymore. Like I was just floating. Kaylara tilted her head. So you ran? Jax shrugged. Maybe, or maybe I just kept going. Silence again. Then she whispered, There's something wrong with me. Or something right, Jax replied. She shook her head. I see things when I sleep. Machines, needles, voices. But not in my language, in yours. That got Jax's attention. He leaned forward. What kind of machines? Kaylara stared into the tea. Long needles, silver walls. Lights. Over my head, a voice repeating numbers. I wasn't a child. I was grown, but trapped, hooked to something. She looked up at him. What if I wasn't born? What if I was made? Jax's face changed. He stood and walked to the ship's terminal, tapped a few keys. Opened a scan. Give me your hand, he said. She hesitated. Then held it out. He placed a small scanner near her palm. It beeped. Then flashed a red icon. Unknown. Genetic strain warning. Hybrid composition detected. Jax stared at the screen. No records, no species match. Just one buried tag. T Project 01. Human origin, experimental status, location. CLSFIE stepped back, eyes wide. You're not Villari. And you're not fully alien. Kaylara blinked. Her voice shook. Then what am I? Jax didn't have an answer, but deep in the ship, another system woke up. The stolen ship had data logs left by its last owner. One message autoplayed. A distorted voice, speaking fast. If you're hearing this, stay away. From the girl. She's not natural. She's part of something big. Something buried. They'll kill whole planets to keep her quiet. Kaylara stood up. They built me? Jax nodded slowly. Maybe, or maybe they broke something that wasn't theirs to touch. She clenched her fists. My family sold me. My planet turned away. And now you're telling me I might not even be one of them? He looked into her eyes. You're not a thing, Kaylara. Not a weapon. Not a mistake. You're proof. Proof that humans once built something the galaxy couldn't control. Outside, a warning light blinked on the radar. Something was tracking them. A stealth ship. No ID. No signal. Jax saw it on the screen. We've been found. Kaylara stood beside him. No fear in her eyes now. Only fire. Then let them come. Let them see what I really am. Back in deep space, in a golden throne room lit by blue flame, the same shadowed figure who once watched her escape now spoke to his council. The girl has awakened. We were too late to end her quietly. One of the generals asked, do we kill her now? The figure stared at the stars. No, bring her alive. If she remembers the lab, she might remember the location. Another voice whispered, Project T was never destroyed, just hidden. Back on the ship, Kaylara walked to her small room. She looked at her reflection in the glass wall. For the first time, she didn't see a prisoner. She saw something new. Something powerful, something unfinished. She whispered to herself, I'm not what they made. I'm what they'll never control. Some fires are not born. They are built. Kaylara stood at the edge of a ruined battlefield, a forgotten moon orbiting a dying star. Ash covered the rocks. Winds howled through broken towers. But she wasn't cold. Not anymore. The ship behind her was quiet. Inside, Jax checked his weapon, armor, and final message. His fingers moved slowly. His thoughts, DIDN, single quotes dot. This was the end. Maybe of the chase. Maybe of everything. A signal had brought them here. One Kaylara didn't understand, but felt. A voice, hidden deep in her memory. Return to the cradle. This moon, long abandoned, had once held a secret facility. Project to her origin, her truth. She walked forward. Jax followed. Together they crossed gates made of rusted steel, into the deep shadows of the complex. The air smelled of oil and old blood. Inside, walls HUMMED. Lights flickered on by themselves. And across the main chamber stood them. Not just guards. Not slavers, but elite soldiers, human-designed, cyber-enhanced. Eyes cold, guns drawn. Behind them stood a man. Tall, elegant, with glowing silver veins on his neck. You've returned, he said softly. We knew you would. Kaylara narrowed her eyes. Who are you? He smiled. Your architect. Jax raised his weapon. She's not yours, the man nodded. Not anymore, no. But we still need what's inside her. The location of the others. Kaylara blinked. Others? Yes. He said, you were never the only one. You were the first to wake, the first to run. But there are more, sleeping, waiting, and your mind holds the coordinates. She shook her head. I don't remember. He stepped forward. But you will, when we break you. The soldiers raised their weapons. Jax fired first. A blast of blue light hit the nearest one. Then chaos. Jax ran left, rolling behind a console. Kaylara raised her hand. Fire leapt from her skin, blocking 3 blasts in midair. But the architect spoke a single word, disable. And Kaylara dropped to her knees, screaming. Pain shot through her head, her mind filled with sharp memories, wires, labs, white lights. She saw herself in a tank, not crying, just watching. Frozen. Jax rushed to her side. Kaylara, listen to me. You're not just made, you're alive. You made your own choices. That's what makes you real. The architect laughed. She is code. Beautiful, dangerous code. Jax looked up, furious. No, she's more human than any of you. Kelara gasped. The pain stopped. The architect stepped back. Surprised, she stood, eyes glowing brighter than ever before, voice calm, steady. You didn't make me. You copied me, and failed. The soldiers opened fire. Kelara didn't flinch. She raised both hands, and everything around her exploded in light. Metal melted. Bullets turned to dust mid-air. Even gravity twisted. Jax floated for a second. Weightless. The architect screamed as fire wrapped around his body. He tried to run, but Kelara stopped him with a word. No, she didn't kill him. She turned away. That was her power. In her choice. The lab burned. Kelara and Jax walked out, smoke rising behind them. No more questions. No more running. Later on the ship they sat in silence. Jax poured 2 cups of tea. He raised his cup. To freedom. She tapped hers against it. To fire. He looked at her. What now? She smiled, tired but clear. I find the others. Wake them. Help them choose for themselves. He nodded. And you? She walked to the ship window, looked at the stars. I'm not just someone who was claimed by a man. I'm someone who claimed herself. As they flew off the dying moon, a single message echoed across deep space. She lives. She remembers. Project T has returned, somewhere far away, in Aang. A silent chamber deep inside a forgotten Terran ruin. Old machines blinked to life. Tanks filled with silver light. Eyes opened.